Okay. Hello, hello. We are just going to get started. It's about 3:30 now. I am so excited to have you guys here today for this webinar and specifically really talk about the 5 tips that I have for you to not only get your business started, but create a sustainable business that you can continually run and that will help you actually get clients. So I'm going to dive into this a little bit now. If you are here and joining us, please feel free to say hello in the chat box. I will come back kind of toward the end of this call and I will answer any questions that you guys have. Of course, if we run out of time, I will answer these directly, whether to your email or on Facebook or things like that, especially if it's a frequently asked question. So please let me know what questions or comments that you have during this time. I am so excited you are here. So let's get started. I am going to share my screen with you guys. I have some slides that I'll kind of go through as I walk through this webinar. I am going to run through this pretty quickly today. I'm going to try and keep it about 30 minutes so that, I don't waste your time, but you definitely get this information very concise and very helpful for you guys. And perfect. Okay, perfect. Some people are starting to hop on. So I am going to run through this pretty quickly today so that, like I said, I don't waste your time and we get through all of this content today. So please let me know your questions. I will definitely follow up with you if you have questions, but I so look forward to sharing this with you today. So I'm going to share my screen here. Give me a minute to do that. Let's see. Okay. So please let me know if hopefully you can see this. If not, it's the same information that I have, especially if you're listening to this on your phone or you don't have video capabilities. You can just listen to this. This will just help kind of walk you through, but the replay will have the slides as well. So yes, welcome to the webinar. Today, I really want to talk about the 5 tips to kickstart your sustainable business and get you clients. This is something that's super close to my heart because it's basically these tips that I needed when I was first getting started in my first business, my photography business, which I'll touch a little bit more on here soon, and just really what I needed at that time, which I know was very common to what, if you're just getting your business started or maybe you've started a little bit, you might go through a lot of these things too that maybe you haven't considered. So that's why I wanted to share them with you today. So a little bit of a welcome. I kind of gave you guys a little bit of an introduction, but I wanted to let you know that you are in the right place today if you are wanting to get your business started. Maybe, you have thought about this idea for a while. Maybe it's just an idea in the back of your mind. Maybe you really want to get your business started, but you have no idea how to get started or you don't feel ready. That is a huge one. Maybe you are not confident in what you do yet to really be sharing it and building your business the way that you need to. Instead, it's just kind of that idea that you're not really sure about yet. Or maybe you have gotten started a little bit, but you really have no idea what you're doing. You don't know what you should be focused on. You feel like you're throwing things at the wall, hoping something sticks, or you're flailing around just trying by trial and error, and you're not really getting clients yet. So you're frustrated with, what you're doing wrong or what you should be doing. This is totally for you. That's exactly, all of these things a little bit were exactly where I was when I first started my business. And it's very common because you don't know kind of how you should be doing things or how you should really get started. So today we are going to go over, gave you kind of a brief welcome. I am going to dive in a little bit to my story, share with you just kind of what I experienced, what I knew I needed to focus on, how I really got started, what helped me, and then why I waited 4 years to get my second business started. And I don't want you to do the same thing, which is a huge thing why I'm sharing this webinar with you guys today. Then we'll dive into the 5 tips to really get you started. I really want to touch on how you can not only get started, but how you make a business sustainable and how you really work at getting your clients. maybe it's your first client, maybe it's just more consistent. That's what we're going to talk about. And then I want to introduce to you one of my biggest tools to really help you get started, and why it's totally like where I came from. I'm just so excited to share this with you. My biggest tool to help you guys get started with where you are at right now in your business. So I'm going to share a little bit about my story. My first business, I really started from a passion that I wanted to do more. I just wanted to do more of what I love. So I started photography in high school and got my first digital camera when I graduated. And from there, I kind of just like took pictures of everything and anything I could. I remember I used to go on a ton of hikes. And one day specifically, I came home and after a hike, and I uploaded all the pictures that I had taken, and I was sitting there editing photos. I looked up and realized that 4 hours had gone by, and that I just loved what I was doing. I loved editing these photos. It was like a whole new art to me. I've always loved art, but that new, just the photography and being able to edit, like it was not only taking the picture, but it was editing afterwards. That was, I really loved all of the sides to photography. I was like, why don't I do this more? Like, why don't I try to start a business doing this and just see what I can do with it? So that's really how I got my first business started. If you would have asked me in high school, I would have told you there's no way I would own not only one, but two businesses. I didn't want business at all. Like that wasn't me. But it was how I kind of fell into it that I realized I just wanted to do more of what I loved, and building a business really helped me to start doing that. So I just kind of announced and just jumped in, right? But I had no idea really how to get started. I had no idea what owning a business meant, or all of these different things that were involved, let alone just the marketing and pricing and planning and everything that I really just kind of fell into. So I was really learning by trial and error. I was researching all the time. I was trying to figure out my pricing. I was trying to figure out how to get more clients, or just how to do kind of everything all at once. And it was very overwhelming. I didn't know what was wrong or what was right, but I was just kind of, like I said, like throwing things on a wall, hoping they would stick. I was really just trying by trial and error and seeing what worked. And honestly, it took me about 3 to 4 years to really just get going, which was a long time. And in kind of the midst of that, I also decided to go to business school. So if you don't know, if you haven't followed me, I do have my bachelor's in business management. And I also have my master's degree in organizational leadership, which is very comparable to an MBA. It is just more people focused, kind of that holistic people and leadership approach than just all of the numbers and business statistics and things like that. But I loved it. I loved that I could build a business doing what I loved, but it could be what I wanted it to be in the world. I could really create this from my own vision, from what I wanted to put out there, from what I knew I had to share. And not only that, but actually doing what I loved and making money doing it. And also putting, what I wanted to, that good in the world. So that's why I fell in love with business. And I went to school and definitely learned a lot more. However, I felt that, going to school for business, they taught you a lot of how to run someone's business, how to, manage people and manage change, and not necessarily how to get started running a business. So I still felt like I was having to research a lot on my own and read a lot of books and reach out to different people, which was fine, but it took me a long time to get there. So in the midst of that, about 4 years ago, almost 5 now, I had this other idea that kind of stemmed from my photography. Every time that I would get done with a consultation or a photo shoot, I was just so fulfilled. I was just so excited about what I was doing, and just had this great feeling of loving what I was doing and being able to do it more and more and get more clients and do it more and things like that, that I wanted other people to feel that way too. I wanted them to do something that really lit them up and fulfilled them and got them excited about what they were doing, instead of just being in another day job, day to day, kind of on autopilot, things like that. So I had this idea that I wanted to start a coaching business to help other people, very much like I was, start their own businesses from doing what they loved. And for the longest time, I was like, this voice in my head was basically like, how are you going to do that? Who are you to do that? I wasn't confident in it at all. I was like, maybe this idea isn't good enough. Maybe I should do something different. Maybe I should, try something else. I let that stop me for 4 years because I wasn't, even though I had my other business going, my photography business, I still didn't really know how to get started in this new idea and just bring it to fruition and do something with it. Where to get started again? So all of that kind of lack of confidence and self-doubt, it really started to eat at me. But here was the thing. Even though I kind of put that idea on the back burner multiple times and I tried new things kind of here and there, or I just focused on my photography business and kind of let that, boil on the back burner, it always came back to me. It was always something that I was like, but I really want to do this. Like, I can just feel it. Like, I really want to help other people start their own businesses and just have this feeling, like be excited about what they're doing and what they're putting into the world. So finally, last year, I actually hired my first coach. I dove in completely like head first, and started this business, but it took me 4 years to get started. And the biggest thing why I want to share this webinar with you today and my tools and tips and everything like that is I don't want you to wait. I don't want you to wait and waste time like I did because I wasn't sure, because I wasn't confident in myself. I want you to just dive in and try it. So this is why I'm sharing this with you today. And I can't wait. So this is where I'm at. This is me and my idea that I had finally, doing it and jumping in. And I just want to share this with as many people as I can to help them get their businesses started, whether it's, doing something you love, having this idea that you've had for a while. Maybe you just like the idea of starting a side hustle just to make some more income and what that looks like. This is a great place to do that. Or if it's something that you want to like build into this massive, corporation or things like that, you can do it the way that you want to do it. And I love that about business. So that's what I'm going to share with you today. So I'm going to dive into the 5 tips to kickstart your sustainable business and get you clients. So number 1, your core principles. You will probably hear this in like any business class or anything that you do, but it's very relevant to starting your own business. And here's why. So I want you to have a deep understanding for your core principles. This means I want you to know your mission. You have to have a good understanding for what it is you do, who you serve, and why. Kind of all into this mission statement, if you will. What is your bigger vision? Usually, especially for us entrepreneurs who are starting our own businesses, we have this bigger vision that we want to share, whether it's, down the road, building your business into this big company that does so much good in the world, or maybe has, a stronger purpose to donate to charities or become a nonprofit or to help other people, whatever it is, like that bigger vision, because that will give you your why to really not only get started, but keep you going, even when it's hard. And there are definitely hard times every single day, but having that bigger vision, that bigger why of why you're doing this, that will help you keep moving forward all the time and really keep you sustainable. The third one is, what are your core values that are important to you? And these really help you make decisions. So I would say definitely having a mission and vision are like required. Like you need those things because that's what helps move you forward and stay focused on what it is that you're doing and who you're serving. Having core values, you might, see other companies that have their values that they put on their website or things like that. What these mean is usually they just look like words, but they are specific words that really house what the company values. So for me specifically, a couple of mine are authenticity, and inspiration is a huge one, and creativity. So there's a couple more, but those are kind of my top 3. And the way that this helps me is I know that basically when I go to make a business decision, and if I'm not sure if I should do it or not, I kind of scan those through my values. Like, does it align with my values? Does it align with my mission, my vision, and the values? And if it doesn't, it's something that I probably need to either let go or, redevelop in a sense or something like that. But it really helps me make those important decisions just by kind of scanning them through what I know that I value. Especially if it's just you running your business, knowing what you value personally can help you make decisions for what you do or don't do in especially your business growth. If somebody asks you to, jump on a podcast and be interviewed and you don't really align with what they're talking about, or maybe something that they stood for or shared, that might be something you say no to because it doesn't align with your values. So I want to make that clear what that means. But having core principles is the first thing that I definitely recommend for anyone starting a business, because this really helps with your direction and gives you purpose to move forward. So that's number one. Number two, this one I could really talk about all day, but your pricing. Pricing is so difficult. Believe me. I remember when I was first getting started and just laying like tons of different pieces of paper and pens and ideas out to try to nail down my pricing and figure out what I wanted to price my different offers and my photography sessions at the time. It was really difficult because you do a lot of this research, see what your competitors are pricing. You figure out, what you want to put in if you're doing packages or how much time it takes you and energy and things like this, but it doesn't always make sense. Like there's not just a price that you can say for all of those. Like you really have to create this. So I want to run over a few things about pricing that are super key when you are working on it. First of all, pricing is not just a number. It's not just a number that feels good to you. Like, oh, I'm just going to charge this much just because it's not sustainable. That's not going to help you profit in your business. It's definitely not going to help you grow. And you're not really going to have that, just be able to stand behind your pricing and have difficult pricing conversations when you just price just because. Another one, it's not just what your competitors charge. It can be very easy to really look at what your competitors are charging and decide, okay, I'm just going to price that because so-and-so does, because they do. Again, it's not sustainable, especially for your business. They run their business very differently than you do. And then finally, I hear this all the time, but your pricing is not just based on your income goals. Yes, this is a factor that may go into it, especially as you are growing, but it's not just, so I hear this all the time where they're like, okay, what's your income goal for the year? We hear this all the time. I'm just going to use this number. Say you want to make 100,000 this year. You don't just break that down and decide, okay, I need to sell, say, 5 of these at $2,000. I'm making this up as I go. At $2,000 to get to my income goal, because it's not going to make sense to your product or your service. If you have, if you're a photographer and you're pricing different sessions, they're all going to be different. You can't just price the same for different sessions because it's not going to make sense. Again, if you have a product, some of those products are going to cost a lot more for you to make and package and all of this different things that you might have to do to put a product out there versus a service or versus another product that you might offer too that might cost less for you to make. It doesn't make sense just to go based off your income goals or just to charge a number because it feels good and you think that's what you should charge. There's so much more that goes into pricing, and I can't emphasize that enough, which is why it makes it so difficult to price your things. So here's a few things to consider when you are pricing that will really help you get to a sustainable price. First of all, what are your costs? This is the same for a product or a service, whatever you are offering. What are the costs that go into creating one offer or one product? Because you do have to cover those costs in order to be sustainable, period. What is your time worth? Whether it's a product or especially a service, you're spending how much of your time making that one product or doing that one service? What is your time worth? How are your offers structured? This could be, if you have just one product, or if you have packages, or if you just do one service, or if you have packages for your services, just kind of how you structure them. Like, what does that look like? And then who's your target market? This I can't emphasize enough too. You have to know who you want to work with. You have to know that customer in order to price within your market so you're actually appealing to those people, the right people, because there are definitely different types of markets. I always use the example like Walmart versus like say Coach or like Louis Vuitton or something like that. Those are huge different markets, right? Like cheap versus like super luxury. So you can't sell like a high-end purse to a Walmart customer. Like it's not going to appeal to them. They're not going to buy it. So you have to consider, those are some of the 4 biggest things that you need to consider, but there's so much more that goes into your pricing, especially depending on if you are pricing a product versus a service. The key to pricing is you have to be able to understand what goes into your pricing so that you can develop your pricing in order to stand behind your pricing and feel confident in what you charge. What I mean by this is everything that you put into your pricing and figure out your strategy to price something has to have a reason. So that way you feel confident in what you priced it at and you are able to stand behind your pricing. So when you have to have a consultation or a pricing conversation with a potential client, you can stand behind that pricing and say, this is what I charge. Sometimes you have to say, here's why, or this is why I don't discount, or, whatever it is. You have to be able to stand behind that pricing. So you're not just like, well, I could probably do it for cheaper. You don't want to do that. That's not sustainable for you either. So I want you to know that. Like I said, there's so much more to pricing I could go into, but those are some of the key things I want to touch on for pricing. Okay, number 3, ideal client. I just kind of touched on this a little bit with your pricing. You can make your pricing and marketing easier by knowing your ideal client in your target market. So like what I was saying with Walmart versus like Coach is a very different market of people. You need to know where your offer, your product or service fits into the market, or where you ideally want it to fit. Is it a luxury product or service? Is it something more in the middle, something more average? Is it something that they're going to use pretty often versus like a one-time purchase? Is it something that's going to be cheap and easy to buy? What does that look like for your product or service? Where would you place it in the market? And then you have to figure out who that ideal client is that you can market to. You have to understand, what they like, how their habits are, where they're hanging out, kind of what they do, what they spend their money on, like just kind of get to know them. This is very difficult if you've never done an exercise like this before or thought about it this way. This was something I struggled with completely getting started. But as you dig deeper and deeper into it, and especially as you start working with clients and you start to realize who you don't like working with and who you really love working with, you can really pinpoint, okay, that person is more like this person who I love, this client who I've worked with before, she is my ideal client, and here's why. And that really structures kind of your ideal client. So then you know who your product, service is best for, is that person, that ideal client that you've either come up with or that kind of who you're talking to because of a past customer that you've had that you've loved to work with. Who is the type of person that you ideally want to work with? So again, if you're working with clients right now, you kind of know those people who are a pain in the butt to work with, and those that really like you just love talking to them, you love working with them. It just gets you excited about what you do. Those are the people that you want to focus on. And then, where your product or service fits in that market. So knowing your ideal client is also going to help with your marketing, because you can tailor your message, what you're saying in, your posts or on your website or, brochures, whatever it is. You can really speak directly to that person, like picture them in your mind as you're writing to it, because you don't want to pitch to everyone in the world. You want to be very specific with who you want to work with, especially so that you can work with your best customers instead of working with everyone and getting burnt out very easily. So that's number 3. Number 4, this is probably my favorite because it's something that I had to really develop myself. If you're in a business, you have to sell, right? Like that's your job. You have to sell. Otherwise you're not going to make money. Your business isn't going to be sustainable and you're going to go out of business. Like end of story. You have to be able to market and sell your product or service. However, there is such a huge difference between selling something and sharing something. And especially if you are an introvert like me, if you are someone who hates the idea of selling, you hate being sold to, you know, whatever that looks like that was totally me. This is what I developed to make it feel better to me. So I want you to ask yourself, how do you talk about your product or service that you sell? Do you talk about the product or service itself, what the price is, and tell people they can buy it now? So if you're like posting on social media or you're putting on your website, like, hey, I have this product, here it is, like, this is what it is. It's selling for $14.99 or $400 or whatever it is, and that you want them to buy it now. That is so much selling. Think of, like, I always say, think about a car salesman, right? Like they want to get you to buy it. Like usually it's kind of sleazy. Sometimes it's like, you know, buy now, or, you know, but wait, there's more. I always love that one. Or like, this price is only, you know, I hate when car salesmen, it's like, oh, we don't do this for anyone else, but we'll do it for you. Like, we'll give you this price. It's just very salesy. And that's something that didn't resonate with me. That's something that I didn't like. When it came to me having to sell my products and services, I didn't like that approach. So instead, I want you to talk about the value and the benefits that your product or service offers, and tell it in a story. Really explain how it's going to impact your client's life, and think about that ideal client specifically. So in this sense, instead of just selling, you're really sharing with people how it could potentially help them. This could be a great way to like share from past clients, like their testimonials or their reviews or what they've said about your products or service. That's a great way where it's like, you don't have to directly sell, but you can share what they've said about it. That's a great way to do it. Another thing is just to tell a story. So, you know, it's probably something that you've struggled with in the past that you want to help other people with, and here's why it changed your life. So regardless of if it's a product or a service, like somehow if it impacted your life, I want you to tell that story and be very personable with the people you're talking to be able to share with them what you experienced and why it helped you. And that will help sell it so much better, especially specifically if it's a female, because they go more on emotional than logical when it comes to their buying habits. That they're going to be able to connect with you so much better. And they're going to connect on that basis where they're going to be more interested in buying the product than if you were just to sell it and tell them the price and that it's available. That's a huge one. And number 5, okay, this is the last tip for today, alignment. I can't stress this one enough. How many times these aren't just one-time things. Like you do it once and then you're done with it forever. All of these, like, you do have to consider multiple times. Alignment is one of the pieces I consider on like a daily basis for both of my businesses. Starting your own business is very much, of course, a professional journey because you are going into business for yourself, and, you know, you're becoming this expert in whatever it is that you're selling or teaching or whatever your business type and business model is. But it is so much a personal journey that business school didn't tell me and that I really had to learn on my own, that I was needing to push myself out of my comfort zone and grow in my personal development in order to be a better business owner and, you know, be able to have those pricing conversations that I was scared to, or to have confidence in myself for doing my photography shoots or for coaching someone. And really stepping into that. I've done so much more personal development than probably professional development on this journey than I ever thought that I would. So the alignment piece of it, I want you to ask yourself a few questions. So does your business follow your core principles, your vision, mission, and values? You have to continually kind of ask yourself, like, are what you are doing, what you're focused on, that task, that project, whatever it is that aligned with your bigger vision, mission, and values? If it's not, you need to realign. You need to make some tweaks. Do your offers serve your bigger vision, goals, values, mission, all of those things? Do they make sense for what that bigger, you know, your core principles are? Because if they don't, like, something's out of alignment, something's not going to work. It's not going to make sense to your clients, let alone to you and your business, and especially in your growth. Does your pricing adequately cover your expenses and add profits to your business? That is how you make your pricing and your business sustainable. Is you have to not only cover your expenses, but of course bring in profits and continue to grow that financial piece of your business as well. And let alone pay yourself, because when you are a solo business owner, that can be really, you think about that right away, but there's so many expenses that also go into it, especially depending on what you do, that you might have to pay first. Or if you have employees, or if you have, other things that you are, like your marketing strategy and other things that you are investing in, you usually come last. But like, there's different ways to do that. So I'm not going to get into that right now. But just knowing that your pricing really is sustainable for your business and building that in that sustainable way instead of just throwing a number out there. Is your marketing effective, and does it feel good to you? So are you sharing versus selling? Does it feel good for you, and is it helping your business? Is it aligned with that, your mission, your values, your vision, and is it moving you forward in business? Are you working with your dream clients? This is something I had to ask myself, especially as I was first getting started in my photography business. You're kind of just getting your feet wet. You kind of open yourself to work with anyone at that time. You definitely notice who you like working with and who you don't. So who's in alignment and who's not. And that's where you kind of have to shift other pieces of your business so that you can work with those dream clients, those ideal clients more, and those not so ideal clients less, or potentially be able to say no to them, which I frequently do now. If they are not a good fit for what I do, or just not a good fit, like a connection with me and what I do, I will happily refer them to other photographers or other coaches that could help them better. But if they're not the right fit for me, if it doesn't feel in alignment with me, that's something I also have to say no to. So those are the 5 tips. I know that was a lot very, very quickly, but I wanted to share those with you because those are the really big 5 tips that I wanted to share with you as you are starting to get your business started, whether you're just getting started, you're thinking about getting started, maybe you have started a little bit, but you feel like you're all over the place. These are 5 tips that are really going to kind of hone you back in and refocus you so that you know how to move forward in the right direction instead of just kind of going all over the place like maybe you have been feeling. I wanted to touch on why you're probably not getting clients. It's very simple to what we just talked about in these 5 tips. So are your core principles clear? Are you clear on your mission, your vision, and your values? And are you letting those push you into the direction that you need to go with your business? Is your pricing sustainable? We've talked about this. And are you confident in your pricing? Are you confident in yourself, in what you offer, and at the price that you offer, and having those conversations with potential clients? Do you have a specific and clear picture of who you want to work with? Do you know your ideal client and who you want to market to? Is your marketing effective in the way that you should share offers with your ideal clients? Really take this into consideration, because most of the time your marketing and how you're messaging and how you're talking to potential clients is not the way that you should be, because you might be selling. It might be coming out of desperation more than anything because you want more clients. You really have to dive in deeper to those stories and make those connections, and potentially network more. Be person to person versus just through a screen. That's very important. And then are all of the parts of your business aligned with your bigger vision and goals? Are they in alignment with where the direction you should be going? So I want you to consider those pieces. Really, like, take some time to write these down. You guys will get the replay for this later, and you can see these slides and things like that. If you want, I will attach the slides to the email so that they're easier to see. So I also wanted to share with you, if this has been helpful, but you're still like, okay, that was a lot of information. I'm just really not sure still where to start, or, maybe I want to dive way more into my pricing because I have no idea how to price these things. That was totally me. I want to share this tool with you because this is something that I developed after I came out of, flailing and really just, going by trial and error in my business and researching for so long and trying to figure out what was going to work for me in my business And that's why it took me so long in my first business to really get going, and in my second business, why it took me so long to really get started and have the confidence in myself and have, let go of those self-doubts and just get started. So I want to introduce to you my 30-day Kickstart program. If you've been around for a little while, you've probably seen 30-day Kickstart was something I launched last summer and kind of did it as a beta test because I wanted to test a lot of pieces to this program and make it better before I really launched it into the world again. So to not only test it on myself, but to test it on some of my clients. And it was great. So I took it down since then, and I moved the course to my website so it's much easier to access. And what this is it's a 30-day, it's very quick, but at the same time, it's self-paced. You can go at your own pace. So even if you don't take 30 days back to back, but you kind of space it out more, that's okay. This is a self-study program. It's totally self-paced for what rate you want to go on, but it's 30 days of really packed modules. There's a video every single day to talk about a different part of your business. Specifically on the sides that I struggled with, it touches on a lot of what we just talked about in the 5 tips. It also comes with a simple business plan template. So writing a business plan is never fun, but what this program does is, like, as you work through the 30 days of this program, you actually have all of the pieces that you need in order to write a business plan. So whether, you might need a full business plan if you want to get like funding or kind of, request for loans and stuff like that, you might need an actual business plan. But so often just a simple business plan to get you started and keep you focused on what you're doing, and have that strategy piece in place, that's really all that you need. So having that template and being able to have the 30 days worth of modules and things that you've worked on, that feed directly into creating that template for yourself. So you'll have that. I also have a business checklist, which I think is very important to getting started, especially some of those pieces that you don't really touch on, like some of the legal pieces, the structure pieces, the financial pieces that maybe you don't think about right away. Those are all on there. So they kind of walk you through what you need in order to legitimize your business. And I want to preface this and say this is different for every state. So it's not state specific. It's very generalized, but it still gives you a checklist to go off of so that you can contact other professionals if you need to, if you need an accountant, if you need to talk to someone about your finances, or if you need to talk to someone about maybe your business structure and what you should do that way, and what they recommend. I definitely encourage you to talk to a professional in that sense. I've done it too. It's really not that scary. It sounds like it. But this helps you walk through those pieces of what you need, and then just kind of gives you some additional resources as well that you might use. So Kickstart is for you if, first of all, you are listening to this and be like, oh my God, like I needed all of this. That's probably your sign. But if you are ready to get clear on your business idea, especially if you haven't gotten started yet and you really want to, this will really help you get clear on your idea and how to move forward. If you are ready to overcome your fears and self-doubts, this is something that a specific business course will not teach you, are really the personal development pieces that you need to move yourself forward. And in order to move your business forward, you need to have that piece where you can overcome your fears and your self-doubts about your business in order to move forward. So that's a huge key that I didn't find anywhere else that I've added into this course as well. If you're ready to outline your business offers, maybe you're just getting started or you need to have a better sense of what you offer, whether this is a product or a service or a combination, or if you have packages, regardless of how you structure it, this will help walk you through what you want to offer. And you can go through that portion multiple times for creating different offers for yourself and your business. So that's really helpful instead of just trying to do everything at once, because a lot of the times you might start with one product or service and then kind of grow as you need to. If you're ready to learn how to nail your pricing, after so many years of pricing, I've finally figured out a structure that works for me. And I really touch on not only what I shared with you guys today in the pricing pieces that are important, but it dives into there's 2 full days, like 2 full modules going through pricing and what to consider, especially if it's a service or a product, and just different things to think about that you can put into your pricing so that you can get closer and closer to that actual number that you should price at. And of course, this will change as you grow too, but you can kind of use those same modules when you are growing to really consider those things at your new level and reprice as well. So it's very helpful in both senses. To craft a selling approach that feels good. This is so important. This is kind of what I touched on today about sharing versus selling, and really diving into that and creating that approach that really feels good to you so that you have the confidence in talking about it. If you're ready to create a unique and simple brand. Branding is huge, especially nowadays. This is a lot of the visual aspect, but also just that consistency piece for your business so that people can recognize you. A lot of the times your logo and your colors and sometimes fonts and things like that all go into it, but it's really just how you brand your business, like what that means for your business and how you show up to your clients and remain that consistent brand approach. Learn the basis of making your business legit. This is what I was talking about I touch on kind of the legal structures. So, sole proprietorships, LLCs, corporations. I go over that very briefly. Like I said, different states will have different requirements and things to kind of get you started, but then at least you know what you're looking for and what makes sense to you to move forward in that. That was a huge piece that I wondered about, as well as like your sales tax, your taxes, filing taxes, setting up your business bookkeeping, whether you're getting an accountant or using some of these systems and resources that I have set up for you in that list to do your bookkeeping and keep track of things and kind of what to consider there. Those were huge pieces that I had so much trouble finding and just getting started on, that I really want to touch on and share with you so that you know how to move forward and you have that knowledge instead of just not knowing for so long. Building your confidence is huge. You have to have confidence in yourself and in your business in order to be able to sell it and grow and do more with it. And of course, just offer your products and services in general. So that's a huge piece of it. Creating an aligned business. Every single week we go through an alignment check so that you can really think about, what isn't aligned, what you need to kind of tweak, the little things that you need to adjust in order to keep going in the direction of your bigger visions and goals. And of course, last but not least, to do more of what you love, because that's really what I wanted to do, was to help more people do what they loved and do it more by building a business. So whether that means that side hustle or keep growing it to bigger and better things, it's totally up to you what you create. But I want you to be able to have this knowledge to move forward and build a business doing what you love. What is included in this 30-day Kickstart program? Like I said, it is a self-study course. You can go with it at your own pace. It's 30 days of video modules. So every single day will have a video that I've recorded. And each day also has a worksheet for you to complete too. So it really helps, worksheets for implementation. It really helps for you to really think about it, jot down your ideas, but also to help you move forward and actually implement these into your business. So there is a worksheet for every single day to help you. There's a whole workbook if you want, but you can download them straight to your computer and work on them. Discussions and group support. You will have the people that are in the Kickstart program. There's discussion boards per video, so you can actually chat with them or ask questions. I hop in there to answer your questions as well. You can have conversations in the group with those people, so you will have that group support as well. The business plan template, which I talked about, the business checklist, and additional resources. Those are huge because those kind of give you links for bookkeeping softwares or things that I recommend for that, or different links that you might need to like legitimize your business and get you started. And also just the kickstart that you need. Maybe you've been waiting on this for a while, waiting to get started. Maybe you didn't have the confidence yet. Maybe you just really don't know where to start and like be focused on right now in order to move forward with this. So this is really going to help you walk through step by step to start creating your business, start doing more of what you love, and actually get the clients that you need and create a sustainable business out of it too. So right now I do have this on a relaunch special since I am launching this out into the world right now. It is at a $697 value, but I am offering it for $497 to get you started. With everything that is in this program, it should probably be worth so much more, especially for like how long it took me to just understand all of this, even though I went to business school, to research, to figure out what worked for me, to figure out how I could help people do this more and what they needed to really get their businesses started. There's so many people that are talking about, you know, how to grow to six figures or how to, you know, get, what do I want to say, more consistent clientele or bring in that income or things like that. Like all of those are growth pieces. In the market, I wasn't really seeing really how to get your business started. And that's why I struggled with it so much. And that's why I wanted to create this program for other people who are like me, who are just getting started and really have no idea how. And all of these other, you know, freebies or courses or coachings that are helping you for growth, you can't start there. It's not sustainable for your business. You can't just jump in at that growth period. You really have to create this foundation for your business so that it doesn't crumble down. I've watched so many people in the past couple of years who just kind of jump in with no foundation and just get started and start serving people. And then all of a sudden they fall off the face of the earth and close down their business because it wasn't sustainable, because they really didn't have the business foundation to keep growing their business. Maybe they grew too fast and like it fell off, or maybe their pricing wasn't sustainable and they weren't getting enough clients to support themselves and they just vanished. And it was very saddening to me. I want you to be able to create a sustainable business so that it will bring in, of course, it will bring in income and clients, but so that you can do more of what you love and put what you want out into the world, because you definitely have something that nobody else has. And that's what I've had to learn is even if you do something similar, you will always have competitors. Even if you're comparing yourself day to day, you have something that nobody else does, and you need to share that. Whether it's making cupcakes, maybe you are a coach, maybe you are a photographer, maybe you are a writer, maybe you know, whatever it is that you do, only you can do it in the way that you are going to do it. So I really want you to just consider that and step into that. Allow yourself to be like, it's okay to just try. You know, it's, I will say, this is kind of going off script a little bit, but we're always afraid of failure. And I want you to know that failure, even though it doesn't feel good at the time, and it might be very scary to just think about failing in any type of sense, especially if it comes to starting your own business and doing more of what you love, it can be really hard. But at the same time, that I talk about in one of the modules specifically, how to create your resiliency plan, because that was one of the most important things that I ever did in my whole business journey, is learn how to be resilient, basically sustainable in my mindset and in my personal development so that I could continue to do my business. Being resilient means that you go through difficult times, you go through self-doubts, you go through lack of confidence. You know, you go through these times where you feel like you're failing, but you still get up and try again. And that was the biggest key. And it's easier said than done, believe me, but like really digging into that and creating your own resiliency plan really does help you move forward and keep getting up and trying again in your business. Because when you fail, you're just learning how not to do it. And if you think of it that way, it's much easier to get up and try again and just do what you need to do to move forward, because that can be the hardest part, especially if you're stuck and you feel alone and you just want to quit. You have to have that plan to keep moving forward, especially if your why is big enough and you know that you have this gift, this product, this service to put into the world that you truly believe in. I want you to be able to do that. And that's what I want this program to be for you. So, sorry, long-winded, but I'm very passionate about this. So I want to know your questions. What questions do you have about the program? What questions do you have about where you're at and if it's right for you? I definitely want to connect with you and know, so that I can help you. If it's right for you, I will tell you. If it's not the right program for you, when we start talking, I will let you know that. It's not something I'm going to push on you, but if this is something that's really going to help you get started, personally and professionally in your business, I am so excited to share it with you guys, and I can't wait to get this first round of people into the Kickstart program and just get started. So please let me know what questions you guys have. I'm going to end this webinar there. Let me stop my screen quick. Okay, so I thank you guys so much for showing up today and getting started. I know sometimes that's the hardest thing, is just like showing up for yourself. So thank you guys for coming today and being here for the webinar. If you missed it or if you had to jump off, no worries. I will be sending you guys a replay. If you have someone who you think needs this, I would love for you to share it with them. I will kind of share this replay around, and if they have questions, please let me know. But I really want to just reach more people who just need this program, who need these 5 tips, whatever it is, because I want you guys to get started building your business, doing more of what you love. So I hope this was helpful for you guys today. Thank you so much for being here. I am going to hop off, but I hope you guys have a great day, and I will talk to you guys later. Have a good day, guys.